So this is the second half of my model horse collection tour. If you've not already seen the first video, it is now available on my channel, and I would highly recommend going and checking that out first, because else you might be a bit confused because we pick up right in the middle of the Breyer models. Next up we've got the classics that I don't collect, that I have a lot of, but these are beneath these guys. I'm not going to go through all of these, I don't think, because I can't remember all the mold names off by heart. But these are like Chris Hess ones, this side. And this side is more modern ones. So a couple of molds this side I do really like. That Morgan mare I really like. The Warm Blood Stallion I also really like. And the creepy Best of Breed guy that I found in a garden centre recently. Quite recently, considering he's been retired for about 15 years. And I couldn't leave him there, even though he's interesting. Don't look too closely into his eyes. Down here with some more classics. Got the Black Beauty set, which I really like. And again, I'm not going to go through all these individually. And Swaps, I believe this is a model I found at the car boot sale that I've fallen a bit in love with. But a load more Hesses as well. Mostly Hesses. And then the other side, some of the newer classics molds again. That Shire, which I do really like, but everyone else really likes, so I don't have many on the mold. And then we have, these are the molds that they did for the Horse of the Year, which 2013 they first came out, which was when I was really starting to get into collecting as like a collector instead of just a kid playing with toys. So I've got all of those Horse of the Year ones, and I did once have this idea of getting, like, collecting all the colours on those molds, but I gave up with that a long time ago. But yeah, all these guys, and that guy who I picked up at a car boot sale for 50p, who's a World Equestrian Games limited edition. We are now pretty much there on the Breyer. We've just got these guys, which is my little Saddle Club shrine. The little classic scale ones are the only ones that I really keep the tack on. And then up here we have, because they don't fit anywhere else, this is the Ruffian mould. This is the Poltergeist that everyone is going to be, is it Poltergeist? I think he's called the Halloween horse from 2016 that now sells for quite a bit, that I picked up for a tenner. And then up here we've got the Thoroughbred Mare and Foal set, which go up there because they really need to be together. And then the little bits, and I'm just remembering that I didn't go into much detail about the little bits on the other side, but these are the Saddle Club little bits. I think the full collection, and this poor girl's gone bald. Can't remember if I don't think I spoke about these guys. These are more of those little bits that they don't do anymore. Just at the front of here, I thought I'd show you in a bit more detail. But they're little Hess molds that I quite like, and they're usually quite cheap. And then also, I forgot to mention the other Shetland ponies I have here, traditional sized ones. So now I think we're going to look at the ones that are traditional scale and miscellaneous, that I'm going to forget about, basically. So first up we have the Copperfox horses, which I loved these. I'm so sad that they don't make these anymore. That company got sold and then went bust, and they were so nice to have a British grown company producing Breyer traditional scale horses on a really good price point. So all these are ones that I got basically when they first came out. I don't have quite the full set because they have this paint flaking problem. I'll show you in a minute when we get to the Welsh cobs. So I'm very cautious about paying any sort of what they're worth really secondhand. So I'm still missing a couple that I really want. You can see on this guy is the Founding Fox, the original one, and you can see the paint just peels off basically. They weren't primed properly. I mean, I've been really lucky so far. It's only that one in my collection that's done it, but the risk of spending £150 on a model and then it does it is too great for me to want to be playing around with. And then we have my very little Peter Stone collection. These guys are usually quite expensive in the UK, but I have picked up a few over the year. There's a Palouse, there's a couple of that TB mould that I do really like. There's this little guy, Shane, who was the world's oldest horse. That was an early horses one. And then these three cuties and this guy on the end. And also a Black Horse Branch resin that I randomly picked up on eBay as a buy it now a few years ago that I think I got quite the deal on. And then, because I'm going to forget about them later, we have a couple of inbox models up there, and then at the top my car boot sale Bezic collection. None of these guys cost more than $5, so I pick them up when I see them. Oh yeah, and then at the bottom we have, at the back there's some of the Diamond P knockoff Breyer, the prancing horse that, true story, I once got in an actual physical altercation with a guy at the car boot over these guys. He clearly thought they were worth more than they were, and the donkey and a Western pony that I took a gamble on eBay being a Breyer, and it isn't. And then at the front we have a Border Fine Arts piece that I actually inherited. It was like the only thing that I inherited from one of my relatives, and I saw it and was like, I'm going to take that before it gets trashed. So yeah, that's a really cool piece. They're really nice, but they also tend to be on the pricey side. This place is pretty difficult to film because I have a wall there. So the camera's bad because of that, but this is like miscellaneous car boot purchases. There's a crafty pony up there. A little ceramic guy. And some other little Melbaware. I don't know if anyone knows who this guy is. I have no idea. I've been searching for years, but it's a really nice sculpt. And I have no clue who it is. And then down here is again Miscellaneous. Another one of those Diamond P knockoffs. And a little mini running mare that's really cute. I'd love to find another one to repaint. And a little guy that looks sort of like Misty, and a little guy that looks sort of like Swaps, and another little guy that looks sort of like the lying down foal. And these guys at the back, which are like some sort of collector series they did with magazines a few years ago that people think are worth a fortune, but they're really not. So. And then at the back there's an what are they? A Leonardo, like garden centre sort of piece, who's not too anatomically challenged. And then I figure we might as well get the Miscellaneous out of the way with this little Miscellaneous shelf, which is like, well, you can see these are Sugar Cubes ponies that early horses sold back in the day. That I've got a few of that I collected for free over the year. There's Billy Land ponies in the back, ELC. And then there's like, so these are Safari, Mojo, and then a load of Papo that I've just obtained over the years. I like having plenty of different brands. And then there's these two guys as well. And then we'll start the Schleich portion of the video. I'm not going to go into too much detail. Again, if you want that in a separate video, but I have pretty much every single Schleich that was made from when they began making them to about, well, 2017 was when I stopped collecting. I'm just missing some of the really early, like the Marbach and the Model Third Versland one that they did, the Grey Frisian, which is really annoying because I was around collecting when they came out, but I never got them because they were too expensive. And if I thought they were expensive then, they're certainly expensive now. So we have some of the special editions and some of the early Horse Club magazine ones as well. And then we have these guys, which are like the most realistic Schleich I think they've ever made. These, I would love something like that. I mean, look at them. You can't even believe they're Schleich really nowadays. I'm still missing the radio one from that series. Again, I didn't really like it when it came out, and I've missed the boat on that one because they now sell for a lot of money. And I can remember seeing them in stores and being like, oh no, Western, I don't like that. And then we have the only one of the bigger artist series ponies that I have, that Grazing Mare, and a load more of sort of special edition-y ones. And then we in the front there's loads of like minis and classics and stuff. And then we have some of the earlier Muller Germany exclusives, which are also quite hard to find now, I think. But I got all these like as they came out, basically. This was when I started collecting properly. In the middle we've got the Wild West series horses, almost all of them. And the golden, I'm still a sucker for the anniversary ones. Even though I'm not actively collecting anymore. Although I'm also very interested in some of the new 2025 models, Schleich, if you're listening. And then some of the more, well, some of the still older Mother Germany ones. And then we start, I'm not going to go into these with too much detail, but then we start, these are all listed by year, starting with year number 1. And there you go all the way through. And I love these guys. This shelf is probably my favourite shelf in my collection. These early Schleich are so nice, and I'm a sucker for the variations. Like 4 different ones of that guy. But how can you not? They're all so different. And then that horse, which was my first ever Schleich, just nestled in there. And loads more. And this goes down to like 2013, I think these are. And these are all like childhood ones that I played with as a child pretty much. And they're all really cute. And on top of a Breyer shelf, we have the second half of my Schleich collection, which is basically, well, I'll start at the bottom. We've got, these are some more of the Horse Club magazine and some more of the website exclusives. Then we have a quick intermission for the WIA by Model Third Versand horses that I absolutely love. I was a completionist on these guys, but I am missing a few now because they came out with a couple that I didn't really like, so I decided not to go down that route. But they're really cute guys. They just have problems because they're a bit heavy, so the legs tend to collapse. But I've got them there anyway. And then we have back to Schleich, intermission over, more magazine exclusives and website exclusives. I kept collecting them for quite a while after I'd stopped collecting everything else. And then 2014 I was still collecting, so this is like the full range from then. And into like 2015 and 2016. Can't remember which way these goes up, so this might be the wrong order. But they're into basically where around here. This was 2017-ish. 2017, the last year I really collected all of them. And I still have a lot from the later years because you still find a lot around. And I still get ones I like. And it does look like the brand might be changing now to more realistic horses again. So there might be more coming. And I've actually left a gap, so I'm assuming there will be. Past me has predicted there will be more Schleich coming in the future. And then we also have at the end some of these are just either childhood ones or ones I've randomly picked up through the years, but these are like pets and cats at the top. Then we have like Arctic, and then we have like sort of wildlife that I might encounter, apart from the wolves obviously, like deer and stuff. And then at the bottom we've got doggies. Right, that's not it for Schleich, because I have a lot, all of the Playsets again, pretty much, up until the late 2010s. So I've got this original stable, and the garage, and all of that good stuff. And these are all like duplicate. Some of them are duplicate models that I've got in there, and some of them, but they're all slightly different. Some of them are original ones. We'll go down here next, because this is more sort of farm world. There's some sheeps and another barn, and then down here we've got like a cow area with some goats and some trees and stuff. I always have a vision of having like a big setup for these guys in the middle, which would be awesome, and having all this stuff on it. And then we have up here, which is like wildlife. These are all just ones I've picked up, car boot sales, second-hand shops, whatever. And they're all really cute, and they make a really nice display. I have like newer sets from the tail end of when I was collecting Schleich. This pony agility set was after I stopped really seriously collecting them, but I thought it was a really neat idea. And this riding arena up here. Oh, and we also have some of the fairy ones, Bailana ones, that I've picked up over the years. And over to this side, some of the newer-ish play sets. Nothing really new there. That wash stool that I really like. And then down here there's a mammoth. And some knights. And then some dinosaurs tucked up at the bottom. Behind this early horses stable that's from my childhood. And then we have one of the newish, like 10 years ago stables. and this one, which was one that I did actually purposefully buy because I really liked it. And this side is the show arena from 2015, and then the calf. And that horse stall set at the back, which is actually super cool because it's a prototype set. So it's slightly different to the one that they actually came out with. It's a sample that they sent to the retailers. And then at the bottom down here, I have some of the older Schleich boxes because they look quite nice. And then I have the Ugly Horses arena from my childhood and Honey, my baby pony. And then we'll move on to the CollectA shelf, which one day I'm going to have all these guys, pretty much, I think. But for now, I just get them. I get a few whenever I order them from a site that does them, or I find them for good prices, but they're really nice. Really, really super nice quality. The lady that sculpts them, Deborah McDermott, has done an awesome job at making this a proper model horse brand as opposed to a toy brand. And I'm glad to see they're still coming out with new models. They're still doing really well. Oh yeah, and then at the bottom we have, might as well do these. This is my Pony in My Pocket arena. I have a real sort of collection going of these guys. And these are like Animal Hospital, again, from my childhood. And again, these are Pony in My Pocket and stuff. They're Pony in My Pocket / My Beautiful Horse / I Love Ponies. But these are like childhood ones, and I pick them up if I see them for cheap enough, because especially the In My Pockets are super cute. And I'm constantly trying to resist them when I see them on eBay, because I do not need to start another collection. And then at the back you can see all of my Horse Club boxes. And these are the stables that I repainted to be more realistic, and yes, I do now regret that. And then, last but not least, we're going to move on to the last section of my collection, which is the fun bit, the My Little Pony bit, the childhood toys. So, I collect, well, mostly Generation 1 and Generation 3. I do have a lot of G4s as well, but those guys are my main. Like, G3 is my childhood ponies. Most of these are my childhood ponies. So yeah, let's have a look at these guys. So we'll start off here with, this is G1s. I've got most of the basic fun releases, and I leave them in the box because they display easier in the box, and the boxes are super cute. So I've got most of the basic fun releases. And then, yeah, G1, I don't like actively collect any. She says, don't look at these ponies, but I tend to just get them when they come up for a good enough deal, because they can get pretty pricey. But I suppose actually we'll start at the top. I've got the Cutie Mark crew you can see up there, which are probably my favourite G4s, honestly. And also the Dolly Mix ones that they did in the UK about 10 or so years ago, which is super cute. And then, yeah, we'll have a look at these guys. We've got a Fairy Tale Bird hanging out on top of the Baby Bonnet Dance School. And then, yeah, lots of G1 goodness. We've got the Lullaby Nursery, which I absolutely love. It's such a nice way to display them. So that's super cute. And then there's a few of my rarer ones in front. There's the one of the Birth Flower ones, Baby Candy, who I actually found in a charity shop, and a couple of Italian ones. And then you can see this side I've got the Euro exclusive school, which was a really fun find. And some of these, like more pastel-y ponies, are probably my favourite. And then down here we've got more G1. We've got the Peachy from the Repro Peachy Parlour up there, because I keep that in the box and it feels so bad because otherwise I don't get to see her, so she's there. There's the tiniest collection of Littlest Pet Shop you've ever seen in the back there. Sometimes they come in lots and they keep them back there. There's some annuals and stuff at the back as well. And you can see more G1 goodness. The original collector's pose ones at the front. Rainbow ponies, which are some of my favourite G1s again. And at the back we also have a Fashion Star filly. I put like anything that's also 80s, 90s that fits in with the My Little Pony vibe. So there's a keepers there too. And then there's a carry case with some of the another little keepers on, and some of the little, whatever they're called, that come with keepers. And this side is another keeper. The little baby sea ponies, I still don't have any good way to display them. And the peachy parlour with a couple of super long hair ponies in the front, and then my very little collection of G2s that live there. Not because I do quite like them, but you don't see them very often, even in Europe where they were released for longer. And at the back, that side is the G2 McDonald's ponies. And then down in this bottom bit, this is where I keep all of my plushes. So I have a load of G3 plush, and also the G1 Basic Fun reproduction plushes are hiding in the back there. And the Sing and Dance and Pinkie Pie and Merry Christmas Minty. And a couple of G1 plushes as well. And I also have this little like end cap from one of my Breyer shelves where I have the Celestial ponies, the Peachy Parlour, Pretty Parlour. And then I have the later like reboot G4 movie ones, which are pretty much the only later G4s I like. And the magazine figures, which I actually really quite like. And also, because I'm going to forget about them, the G4 Build-A-Bears. And we're going to move away from the G1 shelf. More basic fun ponies. I'd love to have them all on a big wall like that, but because I'm in the loft, like I said earlier, I don't have big walls. So that's not an option. And then I have some of the very little G3 boxed collection. I'm trying to get more of these before they go up in price, but I've only got a few at the moment. And we've got another plush. Some of the annuals, that random doll that I do not know who that is. If you know who that is, let me know. I've tried to research it, I've never found it. And then we have a G3 castle with G3 ponies that are doubles but not doubles because they're slightly different. Most of them are just like the hoof magnet. They either do have it or don't have it, which is different from my better one that I've got on the actual shelf. And then down here we've got Ponyville, which are super cute and super easy to display. And then we'll move on to the big boy shelf, the big G3 shelf, which I don't have nearly all of these. I think I'm still missing less than half now, but not much less than half, to give you an idea of how many the G3s there were. But again, I don't like actively trying to get them all. I'm just, as they come, I find them at charity shops or for cheap or whatever. And I tend to pick them up as I see them. And a lot of these are childhood. We'll start at this end with some of the, this is like the Rainbow Princess Castle, which is really cute. That isn't the rarity that actually came with the castle. It's a super long hair one, but she looks like she belongs there. And then we've got some of the Disney ponies. And the shops are along the back. There are a couple of shops in box, like the Calf and the Surf shop and Blooming Blossom shop. So they're really cute. This is quite a hard bit to film because my loft hatch is here. So I'm not sure how good I'll be able to film this without falling down the loft hatch. But we'll try and go along here. And I just turned the light off, so that isn't that handy. We've got these guys. That's like the later Rainbow Dash set from like later 2000s. Like the Easter set that they did. The scooter ponies that came with Butterfly Island. And down here with like the salon and the boutique in the background. And then the roller coaster, Butterfly Island roller coaster, and Butterfly Island itself at the end there, with the ponies with the snorkels, which I love. They're so cute. Again, I can't go into all these individually because I'll be here all day, but at the top we have like, these are the collector's pose ponies. Triple Treat's crown has never, she's a childhood pony and that crown has never ever sat on her, right? So these were the ones they started doing towards the end of G3, which is actually where I stopped collecting. My Little Ponies as a child because suddenly they only did 7 ponies and I already had all of them. So why would I get them again? And then these guys are all organised by pose. I did have them organised by colour, which I like, but I ran out of room. So you can see them all lined up. The light isn't very good, sorry about that. But they're all lined up by pose, and my childhood ones have the backing cards behind them because I was that sort of child that kept all that stuff. And that girl, Rainbow Swirl, is the first ever My Little Pony I ever got when I was 4 years old. And you can see more of them down here. Looking really, really stinking cute as they do. And like the Divine Shine ponies, which are the ones that have glitter in them. You can't actually see it that well. But they're super cute next to Soda Float, who smells like soda, which is awesome. And amazing that after all this, it's been a good while now since these were released, like 15, 20 years, and they still smell, which is pretty cool. And then in the middle we have Lily Lightning, who's another childhood pony with Starcatcher. Another one who was from my childhood, and that little Avon pony. And then you can see another couple from my childhood. Whatever they were, like Dulux Pegasus ones with the big wings that break easily, and some McDonald's ones and some Busy Book, and some more McDonald's, and some Dolly Mix ponies. And then over here we've got more. All those guys. And then all these guys. So you can see the glitter pony better there. But all these super cute guys. Silver Glow, who was another early pony. And baby ponies. And Precious Gem, who always has the messed up hair because she came with that really curly hair. Yeah. These are all the G3 ponies. We move into poor G3.5, who are stuffed right at the back where I can barely see them because I don't collect these guys, but I do get them like if I find any for really cheap, so I've got a good little lineup of them. They don't get much love. And at the back there's also some G4, some of the bigger G4s, and also actually on the end my very small G4.5 and G5 collection, which consists of 6 ponies. And there's also a couple of plush, a couple of boxed ones, and these guys from G4. And this side we've got the like fashion style G4s, the cute little hot air balloon that I do really like, and then lots and lots of G4s that I don't really collect. Again, I just pick them up because they're My Little Ponies, so I do have quite a big collection. Again, this is an area that's not very easy to film, so you have to bear with me. And if you want a better My Little Pony video, I will do my best. But this is pretty impossible to film. They look quite spooky in the dark. But yeah, these guys exist and they're there, and I clearly like them because I haven't sold them. Not that they're worth very much. And then the superhero ponies, which I do actually really quite like. And in the back there's like boxes for G3 and a couple of G1 boxes. You can see the baby bonnet and the schoolhouse back there. And then finally we have the G4s that I actually like, which are basically any that are different, that aren't the main 6 over and over and over again. So we've got the like Target exclusive Pony Mania ones, which are really nice. I really like them. The like wild, I'm not very good with G4, sorry, but they were like Wild Rainbow or something, the Cutie Mark Crusaders, and then the pearly ones and the Water Magic, Cutie Mark Magic, Water Cuties. I have a boxed one over there that I'm looking at, which I really like. And down here, these are just some of the characters they did that aren't the main 6. So they get a special place up here where I can actually see them. And then the blind bag shelf, which at some point I'm going to get more blind bags and I don't know what I'm going to do, but we'll come to that when we come to it.